Welcome to Slayerfest 98. I'm Ian Carlos Crawford.
I'm Emily Nussbaum.
I'm Nick G.
And I'm Dana Pickley, and we are here to talk about Season 3 episode Doppelgangland.
Yay! I want you all to know this was the most requested episode this season.
As it should be.
I bet.
Like, I had everyone being like, well, if you needed guests for Doppelgangland, and I was like, I really don't. I have too many people that want to do the episode. When I sent the email out at the beginning of the year to be like, hey, we're going to cover Season 3 for Slayerfest, almost every single co-host was like, I want to do Doppelgangland. So the three of you feel special that I picked you.
I'm overwhelmed.
I know, really. When you messaged me and you're like, do you want to do it? I was like, I'm busy, but I have to clear my schedule.
But so this opening with Anya, I feel like I always wonder, like, they really liked Emma Caulfield, right? And I mean, we know they did this with the show a lot where it's like, ooh, we like that person, let's bring them back. Right. And I feel like they got her to shine in this, like, immediately with this opening scene. Like, mortal, a child, and I'm flunking math. Do you have any idea how boring 12th graders are? Like, those are such good Anya lines, especially coming off of, like, her being, quote unquote, like, evil, and she was Anyanka. I don't know, I get such a kick out of that stuff. And that feels very Buffy to me. This, like, person who was, an 1100-year-old demon who is now stuck as a 12th grader and is flunking math. Like, I feel like other shows have tried to do shit like that and not quite gotten there the way Buffy has.
And, I do feel like Anya is also, like, occasionally when a different cartoonish or extreme or truth-telling villain gets new layers, they have to replace that person, so they have a new truth-teller. And at this point in the series, Cordelia is part of the gang and is not this antagonist. And so it's great for them to... I mean, Anya is a better version of that in a lot of ways because she is so extreme and kind of exotic and strange. So she can say blunt things for a different reason than she's just like a bitchy pretty girl who has different values. Like she has her, like, everything seems weird to her. So yeah, I love that scene too.
We then cut to Willow and Buffy. Willow is floating her first pencil. I was like, oh, this is like her first. I mean, I guess her first big spell was actually giving Angel his soul back, but this is like, we've been slowly seeing it. And it's nice. I like what you said earlier, Emily, I keep going back to it because it is kind of like a lot of, if not all of the Willow plot beats are like here in this episode. Yeah. Buffy says she needs to do like laps in the pool. And this is like a throwaway but iconic line when she's like, aren't you sort of naturally buff? Yeah.
That's what's so Whedon-y about this episode. Like, it's those lines that like formed this kind of like language for Zennials. You know what I mean? Like, that we all started talking like that in like the early aughts for a while.
Yeah.
I've got to tell you guys something. When that line came on, it's the one line in the episode that actually made me slightly cringe. And it was right at the beginning of it. And I was like, oh yeah, like Willow is always very cutesy and childlike in this way. And I was like, that's so irritating. And I was like, maybe I'm going to feel annoyed in a way that I never have by Buffy. And then it quickly becomes apparent that that's actually exactly what Willow herself is experiencing self-loathing about, is her own like cutie pie-ness and pushoverness and all that kind of stuff. So I know that the line is clever, but like there was this moment that I kind of winced where I was like, yeah, is it all just Buffy speaking this way? But then I don't know, it ranges all over the place. So I just had to note that because when I saw her say that, I remember going, yeah. Maybe I find Willow annoying. And then I was like, no, Willow finds Willow annoying. So
Yes. Yeah. And, even like her, like, I mean, she's not wearing it in this scene, but the sweater that is the sweater you think of when you think of
the
Willow.
Iconic pink furry sweater.
Nick, I feel like we should have those sweaters for when we go out.
If you could see the Pinterest tabs that I have open.
I feel like I remember talking to the costume designer about that and her saying that Joss kept saying, put more things on the sweater. Like they kept adding patches and it was like to make it more, like you said, Emily, more childlike and more just like emphasis on how like cutesy and like kiddish she was compared to like Buffy and Faith.
I mean, and when she's spinning the pencil, she's in that little like overalls number. Like she literally looks like a toddler the entire time. She's not an evil skanky slut.
Meanwhile, her pencil goes crazy and could have like flayed somebody. She could have totally pierced someone's sternum with that pencil.
I thought about that too, Dana. I was like, I mean, if someone had just been standing there, they would have got stabbed right through their leg with that pencil.
But I think that's very much on purpose.
Yeah.
I think that's to show us that out of control, Willow with this magic combination is going to be bad. It's very much the Chekhov's pencil of this episode.
No, I totally agree, because it establishes right away that not only is her playing with magic dangerous, but that it's triggered by her feelings of resentment and competition that she pretends she doesn't have. So, she's like, oh no, I'm fine. And then it's like, zing.
And they even don't they even make a joke about like emotional control?
Yep.
So post credits, we meet Percy. Snyder is pairing Willow with Percy so he can pass, what is it, history, I think?
Yes, it's history.
Yeah.
Yep.
The line where she says, match, you want us to breed? And he says, I want you to tutor him. I was like, Jesus Christ.
By the way, she delivers that so well. That was the point. So I'm just describing my own reactions to the episode where it's like, buff. Oh, that's like slightly cute, Then when she gets to that moment and she delivers, I mean, it's a good joke, but seriously, you could deliver it was a little bit of just like, huh.
Yeah.
And she just is she's so funny and endearing.
Right? Yeah.
Sunnydale, she wouldn't put it past anyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Wes and Faith come in. Do we know what? It's just like a fitness test for Slayers? Is that what it is?
I don't know. I don't know what was going on.
I don't think there's that much logic to these things. Like, the whole behavior of the council and everything they do with the Slayers is that I think season 3 is really great. But I will say, seeing Wesley again, I was like, wait, what was the arc there?
The arc shall not be spoken of.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. I got the idea of bringing him in as an antagonist to it. Just it was the one part of the episode where, and every scene with him is fine, and I understand they're building the thing where she's attracted to him and all that kind of stuff. But and he's a weasel, but it is the one part that, or he's a wussy British guy. But it just, I don't know. It was the one part of the episode that I was like, I'm not that interested in this.
Well, Dana, as you can speak to, so Dana has been going through Angel with us for her first time. And Dana, how much did you hate Wesley in season 1 of Angel?
It took me a while to warm up to him, as I had a bad taste in my mouth from all of this.
He is a little too cartoonishly weaselly at points. I mean, the actor, he sells it, but sometimes it's like, I wish we could tone it down just a little bit.
Yeah, it does. And it feels like very much in contrast with the other characters who play these roles, where they're like the new antagonists. So where you have, I was talking about it before, where you have Anya come in as the new blunt truth teller.
Yeah.
But she's great and she's very distinctive. And you have the mayor come in as the new big bad, but he has all of these crazy layers and humor and stuff. And for some reason, it's partially the performance. Maybe it's the conception of the character, but Wesley's really like a kind of just a trace too simple and cartoonish to actually really work in this very rich ensemble.
Yeah. And I mean, Dana, right? We talked about that all through season 1. They make him slip and fall. How many?
Absolutely.
Like every episode.
Yeah. He becomes a caricature instead of a character.
Yes. And I really don't, I feel like Buffy is kind of above that. Like usually they give a little bit of nuance there, but he does not have nuance till like season 2 of Angel. He starts to get a little bit, or maybe towards the end of season 1 of Angel.
I think that's true.
But so so then Buffy heads out and Faith jumps on the desk to see what Willow's doing.
Right, because she's spying now.
Yes. And then we cut to Faith's new apartment, which we kind of mentioned already, but I don't know. I liked seeing her say, thanks, sugar daddy. And I wrote it down. He says, now, Faith, I don't find that sort of thing amusing. I'm a family man. Now let's kill your little friend. Right. But then he does tell her, I'm not going to make you do that right now, because he knows that is a lot to ask of her right now.
I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah. I just love that. I love the idea of this evil man but is like, no, I don't want to, pressure her yet. I want to make her comfortable. And it's like, I love that. I just love that.
Is he evil or is he just driven?
There were two things about it. One of them is I do think he's just evil, but like not just driven. But he's also like, insightful and aware of people's inner lives. So he knows that will hurt her. But the other thing is that we know that about Faith too. Like, cause she does have this look of, like, that crosses her face of apprehension, because where she's like, wow, like, he's going to make me kill all of the people that have formed these, relationships with. It's a great little moment for both of them, because you see that he's aware of this in her, and that, Faith's just a great character. So
yeah. Dana, it's funny that you just said that, because I don't know if you did this on purpose, but I was thinking of, didn't Claire Kramer say that to us when we first interviewed her about Glory?
I think you're right.
She was like, she's not evil. She just wants her tea. That's all. We are reminded of Oz and Willow. I am so fucking charmed by him. Like, when he's like, oh, something's making me kiss you, and like comes up and just like hugs her, and like he mentions he has a gig, and Oz is my forever Buffy crush, because he just, he's like, oh, I didn't think you'd want to come because you didn't want to miss school. And then she's like, you think I'm boring? And he goes, I'd call that a radical interpretation of the text, which is a very good line.
It was a good one.
And like, he tells her like, oh, I'll invite you this next show we have. And she's like, oh, I have homework. So like, he's right the way he assumes. And he didn't assume, there's no like passive aggressiveness, right? Like Oz doesn't really do that. Like, he just means what he says. When he's like, well, I just didn't think you'd want to come because you had school. That's okay. Like, he's not trying to be like, oh, I'm mad that you didn't come. He means exactly that. She meets up with Percy. He he explicitly tells her she's doing the paper. And even
he
like
says
when
he can't do any work because he doesn't have time because he's got to hang.
Yes.
He's going to hang.
Like, oh, I'm too busy to write this paper. I'm hanging out with my friends. Sorry, bye. He leaves and she sits down, and it's very cute the way she's like, it's not lunch, but I'm eating this banana anyway. And that's like her act of defiance.
Can I tell you something? Because Ian, so I have obsessive compulsive disorder, and you know this. And one of the things that my therapist did when I was first working on this was breaking small rules.
Okay.
And so the banana thing really speaks to me, because that is something that I would have like, okay, I'm going to eat this banana even though it is not lunchtime, and I'm going to break this tiny rule, and it's going to make me feel freer. And so I really relate to this moment for Willow.
Dana, I was waiting for you to be like, I relate to this, because I feel like you and I are very Willow-y. Nick as well.
Podcast of Willows.
Yeah. Oh, we're all fucking dorks. What is it? Then Buffy and Xander come out, and I'm like, Buffy, who would think old reliable is a compliment? The thing they do really well on the show is when they're also good at the back and forth. Like when he's like, isn't that a dog that you had to take out back and shoot? And she's like, that's Old Yeller. And she's like, Xander, please stop helping. Like, they're really good at that.
Oh, for sure.
Emily, I was waiting for you to be like, Ian, that's a reach.
It just reminded me of the many scenes where the three of them, because they're the core group from the beginning, where they're so charming right from the first season with the complicated triangle between them, and then silly things like it just reminds me of different episodes of the show where they go back and forth. But also, I thought the dialogue in this, it was this thing that's so goofy with the Old Yeller, Old Faithful, Old Reliable thing, but it was they like played the joke out really well, and then Willow gets to say, I'm not an old reliable dog geyser person or something. I don't know. It was good. And it was one of those things where, like I said, because the buff thing had thrown me up, I was like, no, I love this. This is the best way of talking.
I love the idea of you being like, maybe I won't like this. Oh, wait, no, this is the best thing. And then so Willow storms off, and I do even like when Buffy tries to, and she's like, I'm storming off. It doesn't really work if you come with me. Which I do think Oz says later on to Willow, or maybe previously. I feel like Oz gets that line too. And then Willow is stopped in the hallway by who, Dana?
Well, of course it'd be Anya, because Anya knows what's going on and how and who to manipulate.
She sure does. She tells her she needs to find a necklace. Willow is so fucking cute when she's like, a spell? I like the black arts. I'm like, oh, you're so precious. And her little pink sweater.
Dum, dum, dum.
Yeah. We cut to the spell, and I feel like the way this is shot, this is like a very like iconic Buffy image, because it goes in the credits for like ever of her and Anya like doing the spell. What is it? Then like Willow gets a glimpse of the wish verse Willow freaks. He says Anya should try looking in the couch cushion in hell.
One of my favorite lines in this episode because she delivers it really well.
She does.
I believe these chicken feet are mine.
Yes. And then what is it? I have someone else's homework to go do.
Yeah, it's so funny. This episode's so stupid funny.
Yeah. Then we cut to Vamp Willow, which I just showed my students. We were doing a bunch of commercial analysis today. So we were doing Super Bowl commercials. So when she's like, this is weird, Cardi B did a Super Bowl commercial where she does her bit of like, that's weird, that's suspicious. And that was all that was going in my head. Then we get her walking down the street. She's like upset because it's like paralleling The Wish, where we saw that everyone was miserable and closing up, and now everyone's like happy. She goes to the bronze. And what does she do with Percy, Nick?
Touch on the fact that when she goes to the bronze, they're playing my favorite song in the series.
Wait, really?
Yeah, isn't it K-Star? What is the band?
Case Choice.
Case Choice.
On all the time. This is like one of the iconic Buffy musical moments is when she goes in and they're playing Virgin State of Mind, and they show, I love when they show the band on stage and everything. I find that song so eerie, and the image of Vamp, she's walking through the street when it starts playing.
Yeah.
And the image of her in the Buffyverse looking around and nobody, including that old woman who comes up to her, understanding what the situation is just so improved by the music. It's really...
I do agree with that.
There are a few of these scenes that are essentially, even if they're not in slow-mo, they feel like they're slow-mo. Like the classic one in the pack where she walks into where Xander and the pack all walk into the quad, and there's this music playing. I just love it when they do that because the show is relatively lo-fi in terms of its aesthetic stuff, and so I love it when they pull off something like that. I'm sorry for waylaying us into my favorite song.
No, yeah. And later they even, which is uncommon, they have like a sign that says Kay's Choice later on. Like you see a sign out.
I've seen that before. It was nice of them to advertise.
Yeah. She chokes out Percy. She gives her iconic bored now line. This feels... Nick, yes?
No, for all the times I've rewatched it, I don't think I caught that the first few times. I was like, oh, this is...
really?
Or maybe it's been a while since I rewatched this episode, but I had that moment.
You're like, that's the line.
That's the line. Which fits into the larger theme right now, because in this episode, you have human Willow lamenting how unfun she is. And Vamp Willow's constant refrain of, this is no fun. Or Willow's worried about being boring.
Yeah.
And Vamp Willow is looking for the fun. Yeah. And to have the button on that be Vamp Willow saying, I'm bored, it's like, oh, it ties it all together.
And then it's tied together at the end when she says, this world isn't fun, and regular Willow identifies with that, and it's like, like you and me both. I don't know exactly what she says, but
Buffy and Xander are at the bronze, and they see Doppelganger Willow, and they think Willow has been killed and turned into a vamp. So they go back to tell Giles, and they're all just sitting there, just absolutely in shock and bereft that they've lost Willow. And Xander says something like, she was the best of all of us. And
Giles.
Go ahead.
And Giles fully agrees with him.
So much better.
Yeah. And I even the thing is, they're all great actors. We know this. They sell the sadness. I love when Willow walks in her cute sweater and she's like, geez, who died? Oh God, who died? They live in this town where you could jokingly be like, oh, who died? But then it is oh, people die every day at this high school.
Yeah. But that scene on the steps is so good because it actually has a real emotional weight that they think that Willow has died. They let it linger, and they let it, you see that Buffy feels guilty about it. Also, as you're saying, they've both been through so many losses, but this is the kind of loss that just amps it up. And so they actually do let you feel it, but they also cut it with that joke about Xander. They do both. And this is why this episode is so good and so exemplary of the show as a whole, is the ability to not have to make them separate scenes. One in which they feel sad and another one in which they make jokes is just so satisfying.
Yeah, and I feel like that's kind of like sums up what we all love about Buffy, right? That it can do both at the same time and like sell them. And then they're all hugging Willow, which I do think is real. I do think it's really cute that when she's like, Giles, what's going on? And then he like runs up and hugs her. I think that's like very cute because I do think when Giles is pissed at her in season 6, it's because he cared. Like he actually like she would be the second favorite after Buffy, right? Like he genuinely respects her and cares about her. That's why he's so upset in season 6 when she does do the like bring back to life spell.
I think he likes her better than Buffy.
Yeah, I was gonna say Buffy is his job. Willow is his like mirror.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Not to undersell the Buffy Giles relationship, but like
no, yeah,
the ways that Giles, I don't know, models Willow after himself in some ways. She's the head researcher. What librarian wouldn't love that?
True. Speaking as a librarian.
Hey.
So then we get Anya going to the bar, and this reminded me that I need to renew my driver's license. I love this scene, and this is like, I'm pretty sure I'm 1100 years old, just give me a freaking beer, was my like MySpace headline for a while.
Which proves that you, Ian, in fact, are 1100 years old.
Now, yes. So she doesn't get a beer. She's like, fine, give me a Coke. Oz and Devin are there. Devin is such a weird peripheral character that we only see like 5 times. I don't know, but he's very hot.
Hot and dumb. Yep, yeah. That's how we like it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that just like Ian likes his men.
Everyone, so nobody, because we didn't have cell phones, right? Nobody's texting people to be like, whoa, be on the lookout for a Willow vampire looking person. So she's at the Bronze and everyone's freaking out because Oz thinks that that's his girlfriend.
Right, he thinks his girlfriend is fucking dead. Like,
and that she's gonna and then kills this girl right in front of him.
Yeah. And Devin is like, dude, check out your girlfriend. And then Oz, like, Angel happens to be there looking for Buffy, and Oz is like, get Buffy.
Oz is actually better than anyone else on the show at handling crises. There are a lot of crises on the show.
You're right.
Oz is actually, I think, uniformly throughout the series, chill and strategic in a way. It's weird. It's not like he's a main action guy, but he's always knows how to deal with stuff when it goes into chaos.
Yeah, he does. Well, I think it's because, what does he say in Graduation Day when like Willow's freaking out and he's like, would it help if I freaked out? And she's like, yeah, it would.
Ian, can I say something about Vampire Willow here?
Yeah.
So when she basically puts this girl in her thrall, right?
Yeah.
And she takes her and she turns her around and she licks her first before she bites her. It is so sensually charged and in a way that we miss in so many of the other vampires on the show. Like there are very few of the villains and the vamps that are like really like
and racy.
You can see that ancient vampire lore in them. That thrall, and she has it.
Yeah, that is true. And like they let her be, which like most vampires would be queer, right? Like they let her be this vampire who like kind of is in love with Xander, but also, is like, hey, let me fuck my doppelganger. And I do wish, you're right, Dana, that you point that out. I do wish we had gotten that is the one thing I'm always like, I wish Buffy had just like gone for it. Because like if this show were done now, like Angel and Spike absolutely would have been talking about how they fucked back in the day, or like the orgies they had with when they were bad.
I mean, I'm all for. I mean, look, like I'm the outlier here in this. Like I'm all for queer readings of the characters, and I've seen stuff that is really intriguing. But I actually don't think of. It's interesting. I don't think of Angel and Spike as having potentially ever had a sexual relationship. I know there's a read of vampires in general as queer characters in numerous ways, and that's been expressed in aside from Buffy and multiple other shows. But on Buffy, some of the characters do feel straight to me, and Angel's actually one of them.
To that point,
I'm wrong in this. I'm not saying Angel's not hot or couldn't be read in slash ways, but just in the text of the show. This is a little far afield from the thing, but I was intrigued that you guys were like, because I get the idea that vampires in general are like erotic outsiders who are like and all of that kind of stuff. But for some reason within the show that has these numerous different, I can see it more with Spike for some reason. But anyway,
to that, actually, the point you just said, Emily, was I was about to tell you that to that point, I do think even Angelus would have been the guy that's like, no, you're not doing anything. Like Spike would have been the one bottoming if they did hook up, because yes, I do think like vampires probably, like, I just feel like those two couples would have been like banging all the time. And I do feel like Angelus would have been like, no, you're not putting in me. That's gay. Like, but
the way Spike would have lost it if you said he bottomed for Angel.
I was like, what? He's literally the guy who used to be a nerd whose whole thing is the overcompensation of like this punk macho. I mean, I'm not saying that Spike seems very sexually various. I can imagine him being in queer relationships, but not with Angel for some reason.
Spike would bottom for Buffy.
Oh yeah, that's
for sure.
Absolutely true. I think that's totally true. Like, it's not that I don't see the variety available. Like, I'm actually trying to think to myself, I'm like, do I think Angel is straight? Do I think he's homophobic? Literally, I get to it. But there's something about Angel, the way Angel sexuality is formatted on the show, that he seems like and I think there are really wonderful types of straight guys on the show, but he's sort of an annoying type of straight guy. I love the character of Angel, and I think that there are a lot of interesting things about the Buffy Angel thing, but I think there's something very boring about that quality in him. So it's harder for me to imagine him playing around that way.
A conversation around who would bottom, Angel or Spike, is exactly why I come to this podcast.
I'm very surprised that this came out of this episode.
I might even further split hairs, which again is why I'm here. I think that vampires to me are hedonists, not pansexual, if that makes sense, right? It's just like, it's here, I'll do it. I'm here for the pleasure. The blood, the glory, the sex, the glitter, rock and roll, all of that. But yeah, I don't know. To go back to Willow licking her first victim. When I originally watched this show as a still fairly Christian person, and then being like, oh, she's a nerd like me. And
I love when you drop that info, Nick, just like casually, like, when I was really religious.
Oh, yeah. The first moment of like, I am Willow Rosenberg. And then this moment of like, I remember watching the scene going, I am Rosenberg? So, she contains multitudes.
Nick, I want you to know what popped in my head is that meme of, I don't even know what fucking video game it's from, where it's like a little like blue video game character and it just says, I'm fag with a question mark. That's like what popped in my head. Like,
I've never seen that, but I have lived that. So yeah.
So Oz confronts Vampire Willow. She asks why he's talking to her like they're friends. And Anya kind of explains to Willow what's going on, which like I had forgot because in my head I was like, Oz doesn't ever seem that upset because he like spends the whole episode thinking his girlfriend's dead, but then he hears what Anya says, so he knows that she's not dead. So then we cut to the library and they're all discussing. And we get like another bit of Angel walks in and he's like, I don't know how to tell Buffy this. And he's like, Willow's dead. Mm-hmm. Hey, Willow, wait a second. And the beat works both times for me. He tells them Vamp Willow's at the Bronze and they all need to go. And then Willow kind of like is like, ooh, I have an idea. Goes in the library. And as you mentioned, Nick, she gets licked by herself, her vamp self. And I do like, I mean, it looks, you can tell what it looks like, but they play it enough with like just going back and forth that it like isn't too jarring of like, oh, these special effects, right? Like I feel like
it's really not bad in terms of special effects at all.
I have no idea what either of you are talking about. It's two Willows.
Duh. There are two versions of her. But she's like, well, look at me. I'm all fuzzy. Like, I don't know. I really like her acting opposite herself. Willow's like, would that mean we have to snuggle? Willow gets thrown across the desk, but she picks up, which I do like this. That's the gun they use to get Oz when he's all werewolfed out. Shoots her with the tranquilizer dart. And then we get our it's horrible. That's me as a vampire. I'm so evil, skanky, and I think I'm kind of gay. Just so good. I feel like I tweet that screenshot every year during Pride Month. And this is, I made the note here that when Willow enters as real Willow enters as vampire Willow, that's when you see the sign that says Kay's Choice is playing.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they had gotten, because I feel like at the time Kay's Choice, they were like kind of big, right?
I had never heard of
They only had the one song, I'm Not an Addict, that really made a dent in the charts here.
I would not say they were kind of big.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. I used to like tape on VHS, like MTV music video, like videos off MTV late at night when they would play just videos. And I remember I had their video on tape. So in my head, it's like, oh, they were kind of big.
This is also the era of like tonight's Buffy episode featuring. They'd run the whole. It was a really sweet deal for Kay's Choice to get on Buffy.
Yeah. She walks in and her waving to Oz when she's pretending is so cute and so fucking Willow. Then we come back to the library and I do love
the little wave. She waves to Oz.
Yes. When Vampire Willow wakes up in that pink sweater and says, oh, this is like a nightmare. I love that. I also love Cordelia entering in this like
a cocktail dress.
Like
she's going to the jazz club with her husband or something.
That is the craziest, it is the craziest outfit even for Cordelia. I agree with you. Yeah. It actually reminded me of when, this is so silly, but when in Girls, when Marnie goes to the party in Bushwick and she runs into Charlie's new girlfriend and she says, are you one of those housewives? So the outfit just goes so far beyond dressing in a cocktail dress.
And I mean, she looks great, but it just feels like so out of place.
Well, isn't she doing it to try to impress Wesley?
Yeah, that's what she's doing, is she's dressing up to look sexy for Wesley, which is a weird approach for that one.
I love everything about this scene. I feel like we could just compress this scene to the whole, just like we could just discuss this whole scene of like Cordelia being oblivious to the fact that this is like clearly not Willow. She looks pissed. She looks, one would assume, paler. Although Allison Hannigan is fairly pale. She goes to get the key. She doesn't even like bat an eye of like, how'd you get in there? And Vampire Willow's like, I was looking at books. And she's like, oh, okay.
The books.
I'm just shy.
Yeah. And like Cordelia doesn't read that as strange. And then she says, oh, we'll talk about the ethics of boyfriend stealing. I love that. I love all of that. Then we cut to, what is it? Cordy on Xander is like, I more or less knew he was a loser. She's trying to like, I don't know, justify it.
They're lesbian processing. Well, sorry, Cordelia's lesbian processing the situation with them. With a very distressed Vampire Willow.
She's really not making the case for like, I would never be into a loser. Excuse me, I have to go hit on this older book nerd.
Yeah.
And then she finally lets her go and she's like, I'm a good humanitarian, so you just have to make it up to me. And Vampire Willow says, how about lunch? Then we get Cordy. I feel like Cordy is always the damsel in distress. Like that's the only character they can always make the like.
I know every time I revisit this podcast, I'm seeing an episode in which Cordy experiences something so extreme and traumatic she'd be in therapy for the rest of her life. And I'm like, my God, the amount of horrible things she experiences. But it's so funny to me when she's in that thing and she's like, are you looking at my neck? Is there something on my neck? And she's like, not yet.
Yeah.
It's so hot when it's just, ugh.
It is because Vampire Willow constantly overlaps Cumon's the idea that she's going to bite you and the idea that she's going to lick you. So
I think I could start using some of Vamp Willow's lines in my personal life.
I think they would work.
Yeah, I mean, new dating profile bio. So Cordy is screaming. She gives a good scream. She's running down the hallway. We get our little horror movie chase scene. And I love Cordelia saying, have Xander, my blessings on you both. I wasn't mad at all. And just like trying to say anything to get her to back off. I also like I do like the cut to Wesley of he hears Cordy scream and he like drops his bags and like gets startled, but he does run in and save her. And I love Vampire Willow's reaction to the cross being whatever and just walking away. Like, so good. The only thing I will say I don't like is when she says, oh, they got Willow. Are you doing anything tonight? Because I do feel like Courtney would be a little bit like, oh shit, Willow's dead. Like,
I actually didn't. It's weird. I didn't mind that because I actually like that. I don't know. I like the sort of asshole humor of it because everybody else was so upset, and Cordelia is constantly moving on. It is really jerky of her. It's true.
But you are right. She is constantly moving on. You are right. So it does kind of like track. She gave it a beat. At the bronze, Willow is saying she doesn't feel like killing anymore because she's bored. This is too easy.
And Anya susses it out that this is not Vampire Willow.
Right. She also puts her hand in a woman's hair that people for the longest time thought was Tara. It is not Amber Benson, but people thought it was.
She put her hand in her hair and can't pull it out.
Stuck.
Yes.
I love that she's trying to, because she explains, they say, what did you do? And she says, I killed her. And they're like, what? You're supposed to capture her and do the spell or whatever. And she goes, I killed her and sucked her blood as we vampires do. Like, this pompous, weird attempt to talk like a vampire.
And then my next note is her quote of, I'm a blood-sucking fiend. Look at my outfit. And then she's like, oh yeah, could a human do this? And then she screams. I love the delay. I don't know what it is about the delay that like tickles me, but I love that she screams and there's a beat of like people kind of like, yeah, I mean, humans can do that, whatever. And then Buffy and Angel enter.
It's so funny. It's my favorite. I mean, I keep saying things are my favorite part of the episode. Some parts that are my favorite parts of the episode. I have like 12, but like, but one of the things that's so great about that is just that Anya and the henchmen like take the question seriously, and they're like, yeah, that's what humans do.
That's like our favorite thing about them.
It's just a great earned joke because it's not just. It's like an actual motivated joke. Like they're actually like, yeah, we've seen humans do that a lot.
And so then all chaos breaks out. I love that Willow gets her punch in with Anya because she deserves.
She did deserve it.
I also like I feel like this might have been the first time I encountered like, oh right, sometimes if you punch someone it does hurt. Because Willow's like, ow, 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 happy, but ow, ow, ow. Like, because it would hurt, especially like, people like us that would be the Willow that like aren't the Buffy doing kickflips and shit. Like, that would hurt to probably punch someone in the face.
Yeah, Xander does really well in that fight.
He does.
Surprisingly well. He actually like is action guy. Maybe he's still carrying around some of that soldier material. But,
I feel like sometimes Xander is really good in the fight and sometimes he is not.
Depending it's a little inconsistent. Yeah. I realize I'm probably an unlikely person on this podcast as somebody who, when I watched the show, was an enormous Xander fan. So I was always. I realize people have turned against Xander in the time and now believe he's evil. But I always do. I have some sympathy for his sense of being useless in combat situations. So yeah, I agree that it's not consistent.
Emily, I did not know that you love Xander. I never knew that.
I mean, I had a whole, I'm insane. Do you understand that when I first watched the show, when it came on, first of all, I'm older than you guys. So I wasn't watching as a teenager. You watched as teenagers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was, I don't know when it come in 97. I was well into my adulthood. I'm about to turn 58. So I was watching it in a very different kind of stage of my life. But the other thing is I so misread where things were going that I was like, oh, there's a Xander Buffy endgame. That's kind of
I don't think you're the only one. I think other people have said that.
I was actually like, this is interesting because he can change a lot over time and she can change a lot over time. And there's a lot of suggestions of it in the first season in fairly meaningful, although also very disturbing ways, like Back to the Pack, which was the episode that first got me into Buffy. So I was always looking for that. And then as the show went on, and that clearly wasn't what was going to go on, I had to change my understanding. But I think that's a healthy way to watch a show, is actually to invest yourself emotionally in plots that never occur. But because of that, I have a little bit of this hangover of a lot of things people find annoying and even harmful about Xander. I'm like an empathetic person when it comes to Xander. So there you go. So that's one of the things I noticed in this. And I also love the Xander moment when he goes, hands in new places. Like the whole, he has a share of funny lines in this.
I love that when she sees Willow getting attacked, she books it. She picks up that fucking like pool stick and hits the vampire without even looking at him.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. That's like the kind of Buffy fight I love, when she's able to like handle shit while doing something else. Kind of like when she pushes Joel Grey off the tower in season 5. Like, he's just annoying her. Like, you're just in my way. Get out of here. And I love that. And I like the way she's able to stop herself from staking Vampire Willow. And
I mean, it's counterpoint to Faith not being able to stop herself.
That's such a great point. That's true. Yeah.
I want you to know that wasn't my notes, Nick. That was actually what I was about to say. So I love that we're on the same wavelength. I feel like
it's almost like we're vamp twins.
Oh, and I do like the beat of nice reflexes. Well, I work out.
You know, I have to say, it's really arguable that she should not kill Vampire Willow. I mean, Willow is a demon who has also killed somebody in this world.
Right, but Willow doesn't want her to kill Vamp Willow, and she's going to do what Willow wants.
I know, but I have to say, I am fascinated by the fact that everybody decides that this is a good approach.
Well, they're going to send her back. She's not going to be their problem anymore.
That's true.
And when they send her back, she dies immediately. So I don't know that. I'm just saying, like, just morally, I think it was a little questionable, but maybe I'm in some sort of punitive mood. Like, the argument, like, she's me, therefore you can't kill her. I don't know, man.
I wasn't convinced.
We get them in the basement. They're going to send her back. I again, Allison Hannigan playing opposite Allison Hannigan. Then she's like, good luck. Try not to kill people. And then she's like, hands. They both roll their eyes at Anya, which I do like.
That is the greatest moment. They're both so disgusted. They're like, yeah, grovel before me, whatever.
They send her back. She gets staked immediately.
And not only does she get staked immediately, she gets staked immediately by who?
Oz. Fuck. And I love her mouthing, oh, fuck.
Yeah, great.
Emily, I did have a question for you about that. How does it, like, I guess because they don't say it out loud, that's allowed?
Wait, the oh fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, I found that interesting too, because obviously, you know, it's on the WB. They were not. Yeah. I thought that was pretty gutsy that they let them be able to do that. I really have no idea. I guess because they mouth it, they didn't give them a hard time, because obviously they got pushback on lots of things. Yeah. Sometimes I think that's good, because sometimes they have come up with other clever ways of doing stuff. But it was interesting.
Yeah, I don't think so. Ian, I think her mouth only forms the oh fuck.
Okay, yeah.
So technically, she's not saying the whole word.
That's fair. That's fair.
I like to imagine the writers and Joss making an argument to the WB where they're like, "It's fa, it's just fa," and then like editing it on the screen and
honestly, the FCC can't come for you for only 2 of 4 letters.
Uh-huh. It's one of my favorite things is stories about these kinds of negotiations between executives and showrunners.
Yes.
You know, and some of those are stories of people coming up with brilliant things, but some of them are the most perverse solutions. And I know that TV writers sometimes write into the script stuff so that they can cut it, because then they can get more of what they want. You know what I mean? Like, it's this negotiation. But in this case, I don't know. Like, maybe I also imagine them just arguing like it's a nightmarish, nihilistic alternate universe. So this is the only way that we can demonstrate that that's true, is that in that world, people can curse.
that world they curse. So then we cut to Sunnydale High campus. Willow saying she wants to die a virgin after meeting her vampire self. Percy comes up. He has done double the work. He clearly is scared of her. He hands her a apple and walks away. And I do like that we end on the beat of, want to go out tonight? 9 sound good? Like, Willow's like, maybe it wasn't all bad.
Yeah, and actually that's pretty meaningful, right? Because she's like, she didn't do it, but a version of her did do it. And she's like, there's something to be said apparently for almost killing somebody, because then when they're scared of you, they'll do what you want.
So now that we're at the end, I have a little bit of trivia. The actor who plays Percy is also in Jawbreaker. I don't know if any of you...
I love Jawbreaker.
Yes.
He's the boyfriend in Jawbreaker.
He is the boyfriend that Rose McGowan makes deep throat a popsicle in bed. And also, the girl that Willow bites is Sandy, and she will return in season 5 as the woman who bites Riley.
That's so great.
I love that.
That's a great detail. So she didn't kill her; she turned her.
Yep.
Because it's not clear whether she's turn her because she says, we would, if you're good, then we'll offer you eternal life. If you're bad, and then she bites her. So I actually assumed that she drained and killed her rather than that she, no, that's, I love that.
Yeah, I love, I feel like this show does that really well. Those little details of it doesn't matter if you know that it's her or not, but it's cool to know that, oh, we saw that person get bit. And 2 seasons later comes back. Norma Michaels, who portrays the elderly woman in this episode who approaches Vampire Willow, returns as a character named Helen in Angel Season 2's Happy Anniversary. Okay, Nick, I'm going to call on you first.
Okay, pick on me.
What would Dawn be doing in this episode?
Okay, I haven't done this part before. Dawn would have figured out a way to also sneak into the bronze and then make the rescue not only a rescue of Willow and all of the innocents, but now she's another problem that they have to fix.
Dana.
She's at Faith's apartment playing on the PS.
Nick, I had the same. I want you to know I literally wrote down what you just fucking said. I was like, she would be at the bronze and be captured.
She'd be screaming.
Yes, and then be screaming. Emily.
My answer is that she would be at the bronze, but it's actually in a different sequence. She would have a fake ID and have come into the bronze, and at the moment that Anya can't get served, she gets served.
Wait, I like that.
And then she goes, "Hey, Anya, were you looking for this next necklace? I stole it from someone." And then just causes a whole other season of problems.
Favorite outfit, Dana?
I'm going to go with the fuzzy pink sweater. It so personifies the Willow that we know from seasons 1 up until now. And I don't think I associate it with innocence. And I think we really start to watch Willow lose her innocence from this point forward.
Ooh, yes. Nick.
Vampy Willow costume, it's a whole set piece, and it is, the catalyst for Willow thinking she's evil, skanky, and kind of gay. So.
So Nick, we'll do matching Willow Halloween costumes. One of us will be Vamp Willow, one of us will be Pink Sweater Willow.
Oh my God, it needs to be October now.
Emily, what was your favorite outfit?
I feel like I should come up with another one, but I was going to say the same thing. I was like, I know I should choose something offbeat, but that is some great costuming, the Vamp Willow costume. Yeah. It's really terrific. And it's great that it's pants, the whole thing sort of pulls together in a way that you believe that character would wear it. And it also doesn't go over the top. It's super sexy, but it's not all straps and stuff. It actually is kind of elegant in its way.
I think I gotta go with the pink fuzzy sweater because it's so iconic. It's what I think of when I think of Willow. That's the outfit. Favorite scene? Emily.
I do think my favorite scene is the one where, God, there's so many in this one.
Yeah, there really are.
It's strange. I was going to say the scene on the steps because I think that's so great, and it has physical humor too, like the shaking the crucifix, and I think it's a terrific scene. But I'm weirdly going to pick the scene where the magic spell, because I actually think that's a very visually powerful scene where they have the whole flashback, and then Willow getting up, and I don't know. There's a lot that I like in that scene, and I think as much as anything else, that presages what's going to go on for Willow in her whole magic career.
I can see that. Nick.
Kind of going on the theme of what this presages for Willow, I think it's the last scene where Human Willow and Vamp Willow, just before they send Vamp Willow back, and Vamp Willow says, "This is no fun," and Human Willow turns to her and says, "Oh, you noticed that too?" To me, that's that is the link. Prior to that, you can make the argument that they're two distinct characters, but in that moment for me, it's okay, this is it. This was a part of Willow.
Dana?
I'm going to say the library steps scene because I think it showcases so many different emotions from these actors, from thinking that Willow is dead to Willow walking in to them grabbing her in an embrace and hatching this plan.
You all pick good scenes. I think I put down way too many. I just couldn't figure out which one would be a favorite. The one I picked, I guess I think I'm going to go with Willow walking in and pretending to be Vampire Willow and waving at Oz and trying really hard to say things she thinks vampires would say. All right, what grade do we give this episode, Nick?
Oh my gosh, A+. No arguments.
Yeah. Emily?
A+.
Dana?
It's one of those rare pluses. A+.
Yeah. Same, A+. I figured we would all around have the same grade on this because it's a really good, I think, Emily, you said this earlier, like, you can watch this episode and, like, get it without having watched the whole series. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for listening. If you are listening to this on the Patreon, I appreciate you subscribing. And if you're listening to it on our feed, thank you for subscribing. You can find Slayerfest on all social media platforms. You know where to find us. Emily, where can everyone find you and get your books?
Well, I have a book coming out in June about the history of reality television, about the invention of the genre. And that's called Cue the Sun, the invention of reality television. And I write for the New Yorker, and I'm trying not to be on Twitter. but I am nonetheless, and I'm on Threads and Blue Sky and wherever you find your people struggling to talk out loud.
Nick, where can everyone find you?
FlameCon season is in full effect, so you can find me behind the scenes at FlameCon and at Geeks Out on all the socials.
And Dana?
I'm at Dana Pickley 2Cs1L, pretty much everywhere.
Cool. And we will see you all next time. Bye.